First off, we have James Tyree. He is the Health Communications Consultant at the Oklahoma Tobacco Settlement Endowment Trust, or TSET, where he works with community-based grantees. Tyree worked as a news and sports reporter for nearly 20 years before joining TSET in November 2011. He covered a variety of beats for newspapers in his native Wisconsin, Oregon, Illinois, Kansas City, and locally at the Oklahoman, Norman Transcript, and Edmond Sun. He graduated from the University of Oklahoma with a BA journalism degree and is a former president of JMAC, the Alumni Association of OU's Gaylord College of Journalism and Mass Communication. Tyree is an avid rocker, big OU and Thunder fan, and a notorious punster, except during Lent. So I'll go ahead and give Rachel's bio. Rachel Merritt is the social media director at V1 Marketing and Branding. V1 is a full-service marketing firm. VI. Oh, I'm sorry, you're taking VI. I'm so sorry. She's talking about VI, not V1. Excuse me. VI is a full-service marketing firm that specializes in behavior change marketing. Rachel leads a team of social media strategists that focuses on content creation, community management, and paid advertising. VI marketing, not V1. Apologies for that. Okay, so James, if you want to go ahead and give your presentation, I'll put the lights.
Yes. It'll be actually both of us.
Oh, you're doing it at the same time?
You are, yes. So you get to hear from both Rachel and I on this matter of why social media. And we'll get started in just a sec. Okay, here we are. Why social media? And just to cut to the chase, because I am a newspaper reporter, so inverted pyramid, most important stuff first. Why social media? It is a very fast and efficient way to speak to people in your community, to your present customers, and hopefully to future customers, hi Derry, who are coming into your business, your farm, your farmer's market. It's very easy to access in this mobile society. Not only when social media was still around, people logged onto their computers an awful lot, but now people are moving around on their phones. And they access information on their phones and tablets all the time. When you are on social media, then people have your farm, your operation in the palm of their hands. That's another reason. You get instant interaction with customers. That feedback can be very, very important in order to raise the level of consciousness of your farmer's market and your farm. And it's also it's free. You just go on there and post. It doesn't cost a thing, or you can raise your visibility for a very low cost. So, in a nutshell, why social media? And now we're going to go into some details here. Facebook rules. Now, of course, you may have differing opinions on that right there, but in terms of people who actually are on Facebook, who actually use it, it absolutely is the king of social media. Well over 1 billion people worldwide, and here in our country, as you see, more than 2/3 of people actually have a Facebook account, and many of them interact with it regularly, daily, many times daily. It just depends. Over 210 million U.S. users, which of course means millions of people here in Oklahoma. If you want to contact people and let people know what's going on, Facebook is an outstanding way, especially if you regularly post on it. About 3/4 of users go to Facebook every day. And like I said, increasingly they do it on their phones. And so again, if you want to be out there and let people know of what you're doing and what's so cool about what you're doing, it helps to be on there. And check out that access via mobile. 88%. That is a lot of people who, as I said, will have your information, what you are up to, the beautiful pictures, the posts, the news that you have in the palm of their hands. And I got that data from Hootsuite that you might hear a little bit more about later. Next one, please. There's also Instagram. Instagram is fantastic for sharing photos and videos. A lot of what you do actually makes for some outstanding pictures, right? Beautiful, beautiful vegetation, stuff that you're selling, your stands, your farms. It lends itself to beautiful photos, and it attracts people like, hey, this is where I want to be. This is where I want to get the very freshest of foods. Check it out on an Instagram post. It's popular with all ages, but especially younger adults. Facebook, you have people of all ages, but it skews older as time goes on. But with younger adults, they're more apt to post on Instagram and read Instagram. Not quite as prevalent as Facebook, but if you're still hitting a third of all Americans, you're still hitting an awful lot of people getting the word out on what you're doing. Next, please. Also have Twitter, news and information sharing. You'll notice that with social media platforms, they have kind of different strengths and different avenues of appeal about them. With Twitter, as you well know, it's very short hitting posts of what's going on. Now, while the raw numbers may be a little less than they are with Facebook and Instagram, you know darn well from the news that Twitter can be a very instant and popular way to get the news out. There's someone who lives on Pennsylvania Avenue in Washington, D.C., who likes to let people know what he's thinking via Twitter. A lot of athletes will post on Twitter all the time as well. So you can be presidential and post on Twitter. Let people know what you're up to. Let people know what's going on with the great stuff that you're doing. It's great for breaking news. You can also post photos there as well, but if you want to just get out there, share news, Twitter is a great platform. Now there's also others like Pinterest, which is like a humongous scrapbook, online scrapbook, for getting the word out, very popular as well. YouTube is tremendously popular. It's a different way, it's a different feel compared to the other ones in terms of sharing video. So it's not like that hard-hitting news like a Twitter would be. But if you want to reach a lot of people, if you're doing a really cool event and you're posting some video, posting it on YouTube will get a lot of looks as well. And there are other little social media platforms for specific audiences. Hoova, that we're using right here, is kind of a form of social media. So that's like an example.
And I would add to YouTube, which is a pretty crazy stat, there are more primetime viewers on YouTube every night than all of the main networks combined. So just something to consider of people spend hours consuming video on YouTube and they go to it for a news source as well. So that was a recent stat of just primetime news still kind of has like that TV viewership, but YouTube is definitely taking over from a consumption standpoint.
My daughter Annika would totally agree with you. Because she watches YouTube,
right.
For sure.
And it's owned by Google, so they are always watching what people are searching and what they're consuming. So there's a lot of data and user behavior that you can learn about people across the board, and YouTube's kind of like a great gateway to that as well.
All right. Okay. And so now that you have a little overview of some of the social media platforms, I know what you're thinking, or I can guess. You're thinking, wow, launching pages. How do we learn more about this? We have Rachel for that.
Yes.
So I'll give you Rachel.
Thanks. So I'm sure a lot of people already have social media pages here. If you're thinking of starting one for your business, there's a common mistake of creating a personal profile as your business page. And that just as a one-on-one step is an important one to avoid, because if you set up your business properly, you have access to a lot more information than if you're just a personal profile. So a business profile allows it to also kind of serve as a website. James kind of touched on all of the crazy stats for social media today, but people are really comfortable with Facebook and Twitter, and if you think about going to a new website, you don't really know where all the information is, and you have to spend a few minutes kind of surfing around and looking for it, where the great thing about social pages is they're all on an equal playing field, and the about page is in the same spot, the hours are always in the same spot. So there's a comfortability there for people. They usually search first, even if they land on someone's website. We see a ton of traffic exiting and going to social pages because they can get that instant information. So it's super important to make sure that all of that key information for you is accurate, because people are going to take that as Bible, if you will. Your hours, your location. You can have different hours throughout the week, or if you have holiday hours, whatever it may be, make sure that that's accurate, because that's the first thing that someone's going to look for, especially for a farmer's market or a farm where that location data is so important. And that also pulls into the search engines as well. There's a lot of cross indexing happen, which is kind of a buzzy term, but the search engines are crawling your social pages to make sure that that information is also accurate with your Google My Listing page, which when you Google a business, you see that information on the right side of the search engine. That's your Google My Business listing. And it's basically a free white pages, if you will, or yellow pages, which no one really looks at anymore. So that's just kind of a first step to make sure all of your hours are accurate, your about information. But if you are personally on social pages as well, make sure that your page is tied to your business page, so you can say you're the owner, the operator, or whatever your function is. That's a great way just to tie the two together and kind of be your own brand advocate. Is anyone active in Facebook groups? So not business pages, but like community groups. Awesome. So Facebook pages can now be a part of those groups. So if you have a Facebook page, you can request to join groups now, which is a huge step for Facebook. That's a recent update. They tried to keep those communities kind of safe from advertisers, but of course, money talks, if you will, and so they're letting businesses be a part of those groups. So if you already have really active community groups in your area, that's a great step to either insert your business or you yourself start being active. Facebook groups allow businesses and people communicating to actually send notifications to people. You might have it, if you're a part of a group, you might get a notification saying, so-and-so recently posted in this group. That's very rare. Facebook doesn't really allow businesses to send notifications, so that's just a small thing that you don't have to pay for. So I would encourage you to join as your business to those groups, and then you yourself as a business can create groups. As reach gets harder and harder on Facebook, you may have noticed if you post that fewer people are seeing it. That's because Facebook wants you to put money behind things. Groups are a great way to avoid the need to have to invest in advertising. So I wouldn't underestimate the power of those groups in general. Okay, jump to the next one. Thanks. So it's kind of a hard screenshot to look. I apologize, but I kind of talked about this earlier, but it's really important to make sure that your pages are quote-unquote searchable, because if someone is either going to Google or they're going to the Facebook bar or they're asking their friends for a recommendation, you may have seen those types of posts recently, like, hey, I'm looking for a great place to, I don't know, go shopping or get food, or Facebook is crawling, indexing the pages to see what information is relevant to those posts. So if your page is built out correctly, it's more likely to actually rank on the social pages. So it seems like a small thing, but it's easier for people to find you if your profile is completely filled out. Google and Twitter partnered a couple years ago to actually start showing tweets and profiles in Google. You may have noticed this now, like James was talking about earlier, that breaking news part of Twitter that's so important. When you actually search a news story or search something, related tweets will come up or related profiles. And that's just another great way to get visibility that you're not having to pay for to show up in the search listing. So one way to do that is always to make sure that your username and your handle match your brand name or your farm name or your market. Some people will come up with kind of cutesy handles, which are fun, but people don't know that's what they should be looking for. So try and be pretty straightforward in your page name and make sure it matches your actual business name and that handle matches as well. Optimize your bio and your photos and your links to make sure if you do have your website that it is represented as well. If you are tech savvy and you want to get to the point where your Twitter profile could be searchable, you can just search Google's markup code for Twitter, and it's basically a short little snippet that you can add to your website, and that tells Google that this Twitter account is owned by this website, it's verified, and it would possibly show up in those searches. Keywords is something that's super important and we'll get into later, but how people are searching, you want to consider that. Consider the user of, there's probably a lot of technical terms. Obviously, there's the hydroponic growing session going on right now, and someone might not know that that's what it's called, but that's what they're looking for. So kind of consider the user, what their knowledge is, and try and avoid fuzzy terms. And then business categories on Facebook are important, and so you can add, I think, up to 6. So consider everything that could be associated with your business. And then something small that helps with ranking for sure is asking people for reviews. So if you have dedicated customers or people are writing nice comments, make sure you respond to people and thank them for their comment and ask them to leave a review. Obviously, if it's not a positive comment, maybe don't ask them to leave a review. But that's a great way to help your business rank better and have more visibility.
And then for clarity, Rachel, what is SEO?
SEO is search engine optimization. So like I was talking about earlier with the technical terms in your industry, there are a lot in mine too, and I apologize for not defining that. That is basically how your website or your profile organically, so you're not putting any money behind it, how it ranks on a search engine. So if you think about when you search something on your phone or on a desktop, there's those first couple listings that say paid and they're highlighted. People are paying to show up because they care about what you're searching for. And then everything else is showing up because someone took time to consider SEO, to consider what keywords are represented on their website to help Google understand that, okay, James is searching for a local farmer's market in Norman. This website is the Norman Farmers Market. It talks about their location. This is their actual data. These two searches match. James, here's what you're looking for. Because Google really cares about users and they want people to use their platform so they make money, of course. So they're going to show websites that are most relevant to James. So you need to understand how people are searching, what they're looking for, and make sure that your website is the easiest and clearest to Google, that you are most relevant to people looking for farmers markets in your area or farms or whatever could be the equivalent for you. So.
I can tell you for agribusiness and organic search is the way to go.
Yeah, for sure. Okay.
And organic search.
Say it is, I got it.
Okay. Content planning, what should I post?
So I kind of talked about this earlier, but whenever at VI, we work with a lot of different companies and businesses. We work with TSET, which is a great honor to consider impacting the health of Oklahomans, right? So when we're sitting down and we're writing for Shape Your Future, which is a health and wellness brand that wants to decrease the obesity prevalence in Oklahoma. So we care about healthy recipes, we care about local farmers markets, we care about activities. That's what we care about. But what does our target market, if you will, care about? Which we're trying to reach moms, because moms in Oklahoma buy the majority of groceries. They influence habits in the home. So when we are writing our posts, we have an Oklahoma mom in mind. Obviously, she experiences a lot of different stressors in her day. She has kids needing her for a million different activities. So how can we make it as easy as possible for her to be healthy? And we keep that in mind every time we're writing a post. So for you all, you can consider, why would someone visit the farmer's market? What are some of the barriers that would keep them from? And try and address that in your messaging. So for us, we know barriers for mom are costs, time is a huge barrier, stress. So we think about content of what are the easiest recipes that are also healthy. So for you all, it could be if someone is concerned about perception of cost, you could show the selection, the freshness of it, and kind of try and tackle those concerns before someone even knows that it's one in their mind, if that makes sense. So writing from the user's perspective or your target's perspective, and then consider what are some of your biggest wins that you can offer, and outline those in each one of your posts.
I really think this is one of the biggest, most important slides here, because you guys really do have tremendous advantages in what you offer to people, the freshness,